Okay, and I'm back. It's now 12:33 a.m. on March 30th. Some technical difficulties. Apparently I cannot save immediately to my SD card, and I don't have that much memory on my phone, so I get to record in like 1 or 2 question bursts and then upload it to my laptop. So this is going to take a while. And so back to the pets. I didn't even remember what pet I was on. Yes, Boots, I think. Yeah, mentioned Boots. And then we had, Bespin, that's where I was. So Bespin came along, this little gray tabby cat that everyone called Bespin because I was the only Star Wars fan apart from one friend in my area. I even made, around the time we had Bespin is around the time I got my first email. And I think I was around 13-ish. And everyone thought my email was Bespin at whatever. Really? And so Bespin had 4 kittens. 2 that pretty much look like her. 1 male, 1 female. And 2 really fluffy ones. 1 fluffy tabby cat and 1 black and white fluffy cat. So my friend Stacy and I, we gave them Star Wars names. We secretly named them, what was it? Cloud City, Coruscant, can never figure out how to pronounce that. Those are the 2 short-haired ones. The long-haired male tabby was Dagobah, and the long-haired black female was Dantooine. Now, no one in my family was ever going to get those names, so we had to come up with other names for them too. Because, yeah. So, Bespin was just always Bespin, so somehow that managed to stay. What else were they? Either, I can't remember if Cloud City or Coruscant was a female and which one was a male. But I think the male one was given away to a little boy at our church and renamed Lucky. The other one ran away. We didn't have time to find them all homes or whatever, and we couldn't afford to fix them all at one time, so some ran off. And then whichever the female was ran away. So then and I think Bespin ran off. Thanks, cat. So then we were left with Dagobah and Dantooine. And then, we had Risa. Risa was a dog we took in. She was half collie, half Sheltie. She looked like an obese Sheltie, but she was half collie. She was like a collie on little Sheltie legs. Yeah. Anyhow, so we had her as well. She was outside dog. So anyhow, we had and Boots. So we had 4 pets at one time. So Dagobah's other name was Boogie. Somehow Dagobah became Boogie, and Dantooine was Scoot. Because so for a while we had 3 cats: Boots, Scoot, and Boogie. Did not plan on that. Scoot was named that because that was like when I was in Scoot was sometime around high schoolish, middle school, high school, when I wore flops. We had our swimming pool then, and I would run outside back and forth to the house wearing flops. To me, here flops, they're kind of like flip-flops, but you remember back in the day when you had, I know this is a hand, pretend this is a foot. You had those shoes that you just slid on, and they're kind of like flip-flops, but they just had the one band across your toes. Those are called flops here. And Scoot would put her paws in my flops and just scoot along in the shoes, so that's how she got the name Scoot. Anyhow, and so we had her for several years. And she got cancer in her ear and ended up with lockjaw, and she was starving to death, so we had to put her down. Risa died of old age. Dagobah, or Boogie, ran off at some point and just tomcatted around because we couldn't afford to fix him at the time, so I have no idea what happened to him. And then, I think sometime when I was in college, we had these two stray cats that just kind of showed up for a bit and left. One was a yellow tabby tomcat that I tried to name Gimli after Star Wars shit. Let's try Lord of the Rings. How about Lord of the Rings? Yeah, let's go with that. And my grandparents didn't get it, called him Gimpy. I'll let you do with that what you want. So he became Hop because that was a little better. His paw was kind of like curled in and it was like injured. He came to us like that. I have no idea what happened to him, but he got along just fine, but he just limped. So he's called Hop or Hoppy. And around that same time, we had a gray and white male cat that we named Smokey. So original. Smokey would walk right up on your legs. Like, he would just weave through your legs. And I don't mean he walked beside you. He was like all up here, like here's Smokey. It was almost as bad as Herman. And I have no idea if they're related because, cats, you never know. And eventually, they just wandered off, tomcatted off to who knows where. Boots, we had to have, again, he had put down a while back. Herman, I mentioned before, Herman just basically showed up during Winter Storm PAX. It took me a while to tame him, blah, blah, blah. After several months of not being able to get near him, I now have an indoor house cat that lives with my grandparents, blah, blah, whatever. And, okay, so the dog, this is going to be a long-ass video. This is going to be its own separate video, obviously. So Ranger, the black dog, was born here. We took in another collie named Lady. Lady, we took to the vet. Vet said she'd been fixed. After the trip to the vet, who said she had already been fixed, a random puppy out of freaking nowhere from the fixed dog. And then, Lady passed away of old age. So now we have Ranger, and then Gizmo just kind of freaking showed up one day and never left. Yeah, Gizmo was abandoned by the neighbors and found his way here after several months, so now we have two dogs. That was a long answer, but yeah, and I've had a few fish. I'm not going into fish, so yeah, a few betta fish, and yeah. Okay, I'll go into, this is already long as I'll get out, so that's why not. I had, when I lived in college, I had a blue betta fish named Papa Smurf, because it was blue and had a red streak. He lived like a year or however many, a year or two. And then I had, I think, a red betta fish that I tried to name, hold on a second, I'm going to write this down. Okay, so in college, when I was starting to really get into Lord of the Rings, I think maybe the second or third movie was out. I don't know how, we were somewhere in Lord of the Rings when the movies were out. I had a fish that I named this, which I believe means warrior fish because betta fish, until I realized I could not pronounce this to save my life, and so Matherling, this became fishy. Yeah. So anyhow, next question. Okay, next question. What was your house or apartment like? How many floors? How many rooms? Okay, so where I was born, my parents lived in, or my mom at least lived in an apartment. From what I know, they've been torn down since then. Okay, confession, I think I'm recording. Okay. Alright, so, pardon the obvious lack of quality now, and me not looking in the right direction, but I've had to switch to my webcam that is of amazing quality, because, yeah, it was getting really annoying answering like a question and a half, and then having to wait a minute or two and upload it to my computer from my cell phone. So I am using the Windows 10 version of UCam. It's the first time I've used this thing. It's still just as crap as the old one. I can't help it. This is as good as it's gonna get with this camera. And if anyone's wondering, I'm using an HP Pavilion 17. I don't know what that means, but there you go with this really crappy built-in, I think, what is it, like a True Vision HD camera or something? It's not True Vision. Nobody's vision is like this. If this is how you actually see, please go see your eye doctor, because this is terrible. But anyhow, let's get back to the questions, shall we? Okay, so I think the question I was on was, what was your house or apartment like? How many floors? How many rooms? Okay, so the first place I lived in was my parents' apartment in the city I was born in. And then when I was like a toddler, I think we lived in a trailer somewhere in Hialeah in Florida. We lived in Marathon at some point. I'm sure that was a trailer too. I have no idea. If I can tilt this a little bit more. Tilt. There we go. In Miami, we just lived in various houses. Like just typical one-story houses. I don't know what kind. And yeah, just a one-story house with like tile floors and whatnot. Not tile, but not hardwood, not tile. It kind of felt like stone or something. I don't know. Just basically whatever. This house I lived in when I was like 3 and 4, and again from like 2008 on up. This house here is just a regular one-story house that's probably like 85 some years old. And it's showing its age. The foundation's cracked in places. There's parts where the ceiling doesn't touch the roof. I mean the walls, and it's uneven. And yeah, the house I grew up in at my grandparents' house, from age like 8-ish, somewhere in there, till college. That was a 3-story A-frame house that I've been in before. So it was like 3 stories, but 1 story was kind of for storage. But it wasn't really an attic, and the downstairs was like another room. It was technically 3 stories, but it didn't feel like 3 stories. Okay, next question. Where did the family congregate? In Florida, it was at my grandpa's house. Whenever we had like Christmas, Thanksgiving, everybody went to grandpa's house. Here, with my grandparents' families, my grandfather was one of 7, and they alternated holidays. But usually for holidays, we all went to the church's fellowship hall, because that's just, I was related to half the church, so we just got to use that. And sometimes it was someone's house, but usually the church's fellowship hall. And on Christmas Eve, it was my aunt's house, that lives beside me, my aunt and uncle's house. She always did Christmas Eve before she passed away. Nobody does it now. And I feel like I've got a double chin thing going on here. It's awesome. Okay. What kind of amenities did it have? Indoor plumbing, electricity, gas, telephone, refrigerator, cooking stove, television. I was born in 1983. Every house I've ever had has had all of that. So, my voice went there for a second. I guess an interesting one would be internet. This house, when I was like 3 and 4, no, this house did not have internet. It did not have a computer because that was not really a thing that houses had back in the 80s. I mean, they existed, some people had them, but it wasn't an everyday thing, you know. It'd be like, some houses, it's something new now. Like those, VR glasses, VR things you have for your cell phone. Yeah, they exist, but not everyone has them. Some people with cell phones have them, so it's a thing. But most people probably can't afford them, or they're not compatible with their phone. So, I mean, they existed, but not everybody had them. We didn't. I think in Florida, my dad had a work computer. Mind you, this was in the 1980s, so you can imagine the dinosaur that it was. And I did not get my grandmother had a work computer that I played on growing up. And I got to play my little Carmen Sandiego and like Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid, calendar and art games on DOS. I learned to play on the computer with DOS. So yeah. And like, I got my first Windows computer when I was like maybe 13-ish because I made good grades in math. Anyhow, okay, next question. Were there any special items in the house that stand out in your mind? A favorite possession belonging to you, your parents, or a sibling? Can't really think of anything. Just not really. We moved so often in Florida because of reasons. nothing really stands out. To be honest, like, I mean, I still have some photos of the houses we lived in Florida, so I can kind of remember the photos. And the only things I actually remember from memory that I can validate with photos, are the flooring and like the countertops. I don't know why that is. In one of the houses, the tile in my room was like, blue and red is like this, like the different colored square, not the squares, but it was like a blue line is like I'll show you. I'll try to remember to find a picture and show you. I remember the flooring in one of my rooms is like blue and red tile. And how do I pause this? I need to pause. There's no pause button. Awesome. Hold on. And in one of the bathrooms, I remember it was like the laminate countertops, and it was white, and I think it was like pink and purple or pink and blue, pink and something. It was like that pattern that was kind of like boomerangs. At least to like me as a little kid, it looked like boomerangs. So that's what I remember. The patterns in the floor and on the bathroom countertops. Yeah. Yeah. As far as the house here, I mean, I had my favorite possessions were my My Little Ponies because I was a child of the '80s. But it wasn't exactly one thing, and I don't know what that has to do with my house. So yeah. I'm trying to think of possessions in terms of the house, like the house itself, not the crap I bring into the house. Does that make sense? I can't think of anything. Anyhow, I have no idea what my parent. I did not grow up with my siblings, so I have no idea, and I don't know what my parents' favorite possessions was. No idea. Okay, what kind of neighborhood did you grow up in? In Florida, again, I was kind of near family. Like, I have no idea if they were like. I honestly have no earthly idea if they were like my next door neighbors or if they lived 3 houses down or 3 blocks down. I have no recollection, because our parents drove then and we just did whatever because I was like 5 and 6 years old. I don't know. Where am I looking? So yeah, I just played mostly with my cousins on the block. Like we could ride around the block on our bikes on the sidewalk. It was no big deal. And I remember, honestly, the only neighborhood kids I remember playing with are this one little black girl whose name I do not recall in the slightest. And I remember her having a little thing of like band deodorant. I mean, that was like amazing to me as a 5-year-old because that wasn't a thing I used or knew anything about. I don't know if that was the brand, but it was the kind that you roll on, and like we were just playing with roll-on deodorant, like probably like maybe 4 or 5 years old. Sorry, girl, I have no idea what your name was, but yeah. And this other kid named Chester. I remember going to Chester's house once, and he had like toys on like a shelf beside his bed, or maybe it was like a net or something. It was like his bed, and then like toys, or above it in a net or something. Like me and my cousin, my slightly older guy cousin, would go play with him, and I think I might have him on videotape. Like me and my older guy cousin were playing with him, and apparently I was being a brat and I hit Chester or something, or I called him some name, and like my cousin was tattling on me. So I thought about looking Chester up on like Facebook, but I have no idea what his name was, and I don't think we went to the same school, or maybe he was like a few years older. I don't know, but I don't know what his last name was or like whatever happened to him. So, and then, okay, so that was in Florida. Just play with the neighborhood kids, play with my cousins nearby, ride along the sidewalk on our bikes, whatever. And then we moved here, in the middle of podunk nowhere. Here, there are no sidewalks. I'm not near anybody. I mean, I'm near family, but it's all like older family, and I had like one cousin. My cousin here was like you know that one kid in class in any grade who annoys the living snot out of anybody? That was my cousin. Yeah. And like we got along okay, but not the greatest. I mean, we didn't fight or anything. We just we just like we hung out here, no problem growing up, but like in school not so much. And there were no sidewalks here. You can't really, I mean, you can kind of ride your bike, but you got to watch out for cars, and yeah. So, this is a bit different. I mean, yeah. It's not bad, it's just different. There's nothing to do. Okay, next question. Did the town have a railroad, post office, what kind of stores or shops? Miami? No idea. I don't remember any railroads in Miami. I mean, it's Miami. I'm sure there's one somewhere. I don't remember it. Of course, like every town has a post office, I'm pretty sure. Stores and shops. The only stores I remember in Miami, were, there was one store, I'm pretty sure it was something like an Eckerd's or what was it? We have or Crown Drug or something. I don't know the actual name of it. The only thing I remember is a sign up like above it saying "Wow," and little kid me thought "Wow" was the name of the store. Looking back, I don't think there's a store called "Wow" in Florida. But I only remember that because I remember going in there one day with my dad to get like a My Little Pony. And I think like there was one I got and one I wanted, but I decided against the one another one. The one I wanted, I think, was one of those fancy My Little Ponies called Yum Yum, and it was like this white pony with pink hair covered in candy. I still remember that, and for some reason I was mad at myself for not getting that pony. And then soon after, my parents divorced, and I never got the Yum Yum My Little Pony. I'm over it now, but whatever. For some reason, that stuck in my head. And there was a mall. Okay, I'm gonna say this. It was, I think now it's the Cutler Bay area. So that's not gonna tell you anything about who I am, but now it's Cutler Bay. So, if anyone out there knows what I'm talking about, please let me know. But I remember a store somewhere nearby that, like on the outside at least, looked like a castle. I mean, at one point it looked like a castle, but it was like a mall. And there was a store that had, it might have been, I know one place had like those little critter books. And one store, might be the same store, had like the kaleidoscopes. There was like maybe the kind you kind of twist, and the kind that's like the little glass tubes with like the glitter in it, and you do move it and do like this, and you twist it around this like little contraption, and it's like a kaleidoscope. I remember that, and they're like books and things. I remember one book was like kind of like the tile. It was like blue and yellow, not yellow, blue and red, but the colors like really similar. And it was like, I remember it hurting my eyes. The colors were so similar. The tones were so similar. Tones or shades, whichever it is, were so similar. And there was like, Where's Waldo books and things like that. It's like books and knick-knack store. And the mall looked like a castle or something. I don't know. That's what, I tried looking it up and found nothing. I don't know what that was. And there was one thing, I don't know if it was a store or like a market or a bazaar type thing, or it was like Hispanic type stuff, it's like some kind of Mexican thing my dad took me to once. And the only thing I remember is some guy giving me like this like a metal, like a silver and like one silver and one gold colored like metal mechanical pencils that you twist, that he apparently insisted I have, and a parrot balloon. That's it. Like, it's like bunch of people kind of outdoors, and like balloons. Like, I remember like I got like this, those balloons that are in shapes, but it was like a big parrot. I don't know if there's like something like Mexican festival in Miami or what that's like outdoors and you buy little knickknacks. Apparently, me and my dad went to that once. Yeah. As far as, like, again, that's all I remember about Florida. Here, we have a Walmart. We have Walmart. That's it. Okay, we also have, some, like, local type shops, not gonna name. We had a sort of art supply / knick-knack type store that I'm not gonna name because there's not that many of them. It's kind of like, well, it's been torn, it's gone now. But it's kind of like AC Moore, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, but much, much smaller. And for some reason, they had parakeets. I don't know what birds had to do with art, but there you go. And yeah, so we had that in like grocery stores, and eventually we got like Dollar Generals and Family Dollars and things like that, and like cars, like auto shops and restaurants, but mostly Walmart. If you wanted to go somewhere, you went to the mall in the next county over. Yeah, there's nothing here. Okay, what's next? Oh, and apparently we do have a railroad here, but I've never seen it. It's like, because I live on the outskirts of town, kind of, and the railroad is like way on somewhere else. I have seen it on a map, but I have never seen it in real life that I know of. I mean, wait, have I? It might be one near the thing I went to growing at, like, somewhere, but I don't really remember. Anyhow, okay, next question. Was your family part of a religious community? If so, where did you go to worship? My dad's side in Florida, I have no memory of church or any sort of religion, anything, nothing. I don't know. I have no idea what religion my dad's side is. I did, okay. I used to have my dad's dog tags when I first moved out. He like sent them to me, because I contacted him, and on his dog tags it said he was Baptist. I lost my father's dog tag some years ago. They are long gone. No idea where they are. So yeah, sorry Dad, lost your dog tags. But yeah, my mom and her family, and growing up here on my mom's side, were Baptist, like Southern Baptist. My pop's ancestors founded the Baptist church we go to, which is probably why I'm related to most of the people there. And for us, it was, several people went to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. I think Wednesdays was mostly for, like, planning and the choir. I never went on Wednesdays. And also we had Vacation Bible School, and you went to Sunday school every single Sunday, unless you were like deathly contagious. You went. It was like, Sunday morning, get up, eat breakfast, get dressed, Sunday school, then you go to preaching, and then you go to lunch, and then you go home. And okay, growing up in a Southern Baptist family, here is what you had to wear to church. Blue jeans? Oh, hell no. That always confused me, because at church they were always like, come as you are. No, you did not come as you were. You dressed up to the nines. Pants on women? No, you didn't. If you were a woman, you did not wear pants. You wore like dresses, skirts, maybe like knee-length skirts. You wore tights or pantyhose, always. You did not go bare-legged. I mean, you did not go bare-legged at all, ever. So, I mean, later on, people did, like, it wasn't until I was, like, in, like, high school and later that I was allowed to wear pants. Now, bear in mind, this is not a church rule. There's no, like, rule book saying you can't wear pants to church if you're female. I think this is mostly, like, a family traditional type thing, and my growing up, I had to wear those, like, really tight shoes that, I had big feet growing up. Like, my feet are, like, a size 9.5 or 10, and they grew fast. So my feet were always squished up in my shoes. Like, they always hurt. I always had blisters on my Achilles tendon. And I hated pantyhose. Because they always sagged. in the crotch area. Eventually, I started wearing, okay, here, if you have to wear pantyhose or tights for your job or whatever, you put on your panties, your pantyhose, and then another pair of panties to keep your pantyhose up. Please, for God's sakes, do not wear your pantyhose against your bare crotch. That's just nasty. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I don't care who's listening. That's just nasty. Anyhow, so did that. And then sometime around, like, high school age, I had to start wearing girdles. Thanks, Gran. I mean, yeah, I was made to wear girdles. Yeah. I mean, later on, I was okay with it. And, okay, side note. Girdles are not meant to make you look skinny. They're meant to smooth out your lumps and bumps. I just naturally have a belly pooch that I wasn't fond of, and so the girdle helped smooch in the belly pooch. That was it. And it made you, like, if you wear a girdle, it does make your clothes look better. If you have a smoother silhouette, whatever size, it does make your clothes look better than all over lumps and bumps, rolls and whatever. So yeah, so that was fun. I mean, now that I'm out on my, like, as soon as I got out on my own and didn't have to go to church anymore, pantyhose out the door. I do not wear pantyhose ever for any reason. Tights, I will wear tights. Those are different. The material is usually different, and I wear those as a fashion statement or to keep warm, not because I have to. Okay, church. Sunday school, like, oh boy. Because I have no idea who's going to watch this later on. I never actually agreed with anything the church taught me. I mean, I believe in God and all that. I just believe in God in a different way. I still consider myself pagan, but I believe in God. I'll get that. That's a whole other video that I've done before, but whatever. Yeah, so it was always like, well, that's so many other things. I will say this, the one thing that really bothered me about church is there was never any class that was like, okay, this is what Baptists believe in, and this is why we believe it. And these are the stories that blah, 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 blah. There was never that. It was just, go to Sunday school, here's this one story, here's what we know, what we believe, or what we can learn about this one story here. There was, I never knew what Baptists believed in versus someone else. I had no, if someone asked me, what do Baptists believe? The hell if I know. No one ever told me or explained it to me. There's no Baptist 101 class that I ever got to take. So I have no idea. Apart from, the only thing I know that Baptists believe in is we do not believe in or I say we because I was raised in it. They don't believe in baptizing babies. Baptism should be your own personal, should be an individual choice. And you should do it when you feel ready. So no, I have not been baptized for obvious reasons. Yeah. Okay, so, so where did you go to worship? I'm not going to say where I went to church, but it was, again, where my grandfather's ancestors founded. I mean, it's had a name change over the years, but yeah. Okay, what religious ceremonies did you take part in? None. Not been baptized or whatever. That's not my bra strap, it's a tank top strap. I was part of a Christmas play in church one year. I don't remember what part I played. We just sang and whatever. I think it was like some Christmas cantata where we just sang up at the front of the church. Yeah. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. Where am I at? I gotta scroll up. Okay, next question. Do you have godparents or sponsors? I'm not really sure what a sponsor is. And, okay, godparent, my understanding now is that a godparent is like the person who is responsible for teaching you about, like, religion and about your, culture or families, like, religious beliefs and things like that, kind of. That's my understanding now, because I've actually been to a baptism. One of my family friends is Catholic, and I went to his granddaughter's baptism. Yeah. Okay, when I was growing up in my family, a godparent is the unofficial person who is the person who is unofficially assigned to care for you if something happens to your parents. So, like, when I was growing up in Florida, if like my mom and dad got in a wreck and passed away, my father's younger sister was my godmother, so I would have gone to my aunt and been raised by her. Here it was one of my pop's sisters and uncles who live nearby. The people who live over there, the one we went to for Christmas Eve and whatnot, they would have raised me. Yeah. I don't know why I wouldn't have gone back to my mom, but whatever. So, so that's what that was. I mean, of course, now I'm 33, I'm perfectly fine, so that's a moot point now. Is a sponsor the same thing? I honestly don't know what a sponsor is. I mean, I've never heard that before. Okay, where did you go to school? Not gonna tell you. I went to, I will say this. I went to preschool here, in a nearby place that I don't think is here anymore. I went to elementary school somewhere in Miami, and then again here, I did not go to the place I was supposed to go to. I went to where my aunt was, and then I went to middle school where I was supposed to, and I went to high school at the same place that my mom's sister, several cousins, aunts and uncles, my grandparents went to, so I'm like third generation to go to this high school. Yeah. And anyhow, okay, what else do we have? What level of education do you have? I have an associate's degree in general education. What was your favorite subject to study? I kind of liked, from what I remember, like English, literature, and social studies, kind of, and maybe later a little bit of science, like in the back. Now, bear in mind, I liked several classes, but I wasn't very good at many. Like, for some reason, the classes I really enjoyed, I completely sucked at. So, like, I don't know what the deal with that was. Yeah, I like studying, but I was a terrible student. Yeah. Moving on. The only class I ever really liked and did really well in was a college class called the History of Rock and Roll. There you go. I cannot play a single instrument, but I was good in music. Where am I at? Okay. Did you have any special interests when you were growing up? Sports, hobbies, crafts, etc. I didn't do sports. I was not I was like anti-sport. I hated sports. My grand tried to get me to do cheerleading. Honey, no. I was the geek. I was the Star Wars, like Sailor Moon anime type nerd. No, sports, cheerleading, yeah, I was into anime and Star Wars growing up. That was my hobby, Star Wars. Yeah. Okay, what kind of games did you play? None. Okay, let me put it this way. I grew up as an only child. Okay, so people out there, if you're watching this now, and you're still watching this, if you know someone who has an only child and you need to get them a gift, for God's sake, do not buy them a board game. Like, what the hell was I supposed to do with the board game being an only child? Seriously. No, games don't happen when you're an only child, no. Yeah. So, no. The only games I played were, like, the ones I was forced to play in the YMCA after-school program. Like, kickball, I hated kickball. And things like that. Kickball, what else did we play? Like, Foursquare. I hated sports. It's not the activity I hated. It was the being forced to do a specific activity. That's what I hated. Oh, and, Red Rover. Red Rover was the worst, because you always had that one kid who would run full on into your arm and hurt your arm, or if you try to run into them and you get, like, their, like, two clasped together fists right into your gut. It was like giving yourself the frickin' Heimlich. Or, it was either that or they held him up too high and you got, like, hit, got, like, punched in the chest playing that stupid-ass game. So, if anyone out there, like, if you're wondering why people in some schools ban Red Rover, I vouch for banning Red Rover, because that game freaking hurts. Just go, parents, if you're wondering, if you're from a different generation and you're wondering, like, why did they ban Red Rover? Go find a friend and have them punch punch you in the gut or in the chest. That's why they banned Red Rover. What else do we have? I keep losing my place. Okay, what was your favorite toy? Anything My Little Pony. I think I have like probably 150 My Little Ponies. Most of which I still have. Those were my favorite. All of them. Yeah. Okay. What did you do for fun? Go to the beach, a park, movies, a zoo, etc. I play with my Little Ponies, and that was when I was little. And my family went to the beach for fun, I guess, some. So we did that, and in like high school, it was, write in my journal, watch TV, and do like artsy whatevers and play on the computer. And, hold on, oops. And when I could, hang out with my friends, Tiffany and Stacy. There you go. And I had some other friends like Shannon and Jennifer, and like I didn't hang out with her that often. Okay, these names are like super common, so whatever. But the only thing was I could only hang out with them during class and between classes. The only time I was allowed to go anywhere was over the summer and over the weekends. And by weekends I mean Saturdays, because I had to be home Sunday morning to go to church. So there wasn't much hanging out, to be honest. We did get to go to the mall later on, like maybe like junior, senior year, depending on who was driving. Although usually it was my grandmother or one of our parents driving us there and then dropping us off and letting us wander around. Yeah. Go to the mall, like hang out and go to the mall basically on whatever Saturday we could. Yeah. Oh, and this, like, I think I showed you in an earlier video, we had a swimming pool for a while. I mean, it kind of fell apart over time. But we did that some we swam some. Okay. Did your family ever take trips to visit family or go on sightseeing vacations? Yes. We've been to Virginia to see my grand's family. It's her family, not mine, so I've never met my extended family ever. I'm not counting beach trips because we did that often. Growing up, we would try to go on an RV vacation at least once a year. Been to Tennessee several times. Been to Graceland, Pigeon Forge like several times. Been to the Peabody Hotel, seen the ducks. Memphis. Been to Bowling Green, Kentucky. I've seen the Corvette Museum before it sank. Yeah. I wanted to see when I was there, they were having a horse exhibit at a museum. But no, we had to go to Graceland. Like, I thought we were going to Kentucky, but we went to Graceland instead. I've been to, I think, the Natural Bridge, somewhere in Virginia, Tennessee, somewhere there. Rock City, Ruby Falls. Where have I been? The furthest I've been is Branson, Missouri. Hated Branson, sorry. I'm like, I will never, like, I hated it. The people there were perfectly fine. I have nothing against anybody in or from Branson. Like, y'all are perfectly fine, perfectly good people. It was the terrain. It was like, okay, here the hills are like this, and they kind of go around. It's like, it's so subtle, you don't even notice it. And the mountains here, like, you can tell you're on mountains, but it's not that bad. Branson is like this. This is Branson. It's like you just wait. Or if you're walking, it's like uphill, and when you're going downhill, you're still going uphill. Like, I don't know how. I felt sick to my stomach in Branson because of the terrain. I felt like I was going to be sick. And we've also been to Homosassa, I don't know how to pronounce it, in Florida. Been to Kissimmee, something like that. I've seen the manatees, and whatnot. And been to Silver Springs, Florida. Saw a baby giraffe be born there. Have I been there once or twice? I think I might have been there twice. I don't remember. It's been so long. We've been to Maine and Nova Scotia for like a few hours. Note to self, if I ever decide to go on a catamaran or the cat trip to Nova Scotia again, do not go on a Sunday. Because apparently in Canada, back in like 2002 or 2003, everything closes at 4 o'clock. There was nothing open. The only thing we got to go into was like some random gas station type place. And there was like this caboose that sold coffee. And we went to the Halifax. I think it says, is it Halifax? We went to the lighthouse. That was it. I mean, it was okay. The only thing I don't like about traveling north is nobody knows how to make tea. Okay, like, I'm not expecting, like, I don't okay, here's the thing. If you're from the north, I don't expect you to automatically have sweet tea because I'm from the south and you should have sweet tea. What bothers me is, like, when I ask for sweetener and you offer me sugar. Honey, sugar does not dissolve in cold water. Offer something like Splenda, Sweet and Low, something that is made to dissolve in cold water. It's basic chemistry. That's what bothers me the most, really. Yeah. So anyhow, next question. Oh, and yes, I've been to the zoo several times. I've been to the zoo, the North Carolina Zoo here, at least 3 times, maybe 4, can't remember. And I've been to the Miami Metro Zoo several times. I have footage of me running around the zoo. And it's also the Monkey Jungle, and I've been to SeaWorld, and there's also what was it? I think it's called the Miami Seaquarium. I don't think that's around anymore, and from what I've seen in the videos we have, I hope it's not. It's like SeaWorld, like it's like much smaller than SeaWorld. Yeah. And probably a few other places. Oh, I've also been to the Baltimore Zoo in Maryland. That was nice. Is that where they had the beluga whales? I think I've been to the Baltimore Zoo and the Baltimore Aquarium. I think those are 2 different things. Enjoyed those from what I remember. And I've been to Ripley. There's an aquarium or something in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina that I've been to, like maybe once. I think that's where they have one of those like shark domes. It's like a tunnel, and you can see the sharks swim over you. I wouldn't mind going back to that, to be honest. But it's gonna be a while. What else? Okay. Yeah. Did you ever attend a family reunion? If so, where was it? Again, like I've said before, I've been to my grandmother's family reunion in Virginia. Now, when I say it's not my family, it's my grandmother is biologically my first cousin once removed, and I'm related to my grand on her mother's side. So the family in Virginia was on my grand's father's side, who I am not biologically related to. I've also been to my pop's family reunions. Again, I'm not biologically related to my pop. Yeah. So I've been to other people's family reunions. I have even been to one of Tiffany's family reunions where I got to try deer barbecue. It's actually, deer ain't half bad, to be honest. We used to go to my pop's family reunions like every year until one year we just got tired of it and we would ditch it to go to the beach. Sorry, family, but the beach won over you. Yeah, it was either overgrown grass and mosquitoes and people who are way too much into your business, or sand and ocean. Yeah, you figured that one out. I feel like my voice is getting kind of scratchy, but we're just going to keep going. Or I'm going to keep going, and you're going to listen to me if you're still watching. What else have we got? Okay. I've got to scroll up a bit. Okay. I don't need to know that it's a PDF thing popped in the way. Were there any foreign languages spoken in your household? Household. Do you speak any foreign languages? I am like white European English descent Southerner. No. We speak English in our house. Maybe a little more there might be some Southern words that were spoken, but that's not a language, so no. Okay, growing up in Miami, learning Spanish was kind of required, and when I moved here, we actually do have a fairly decent Hispanic population. And so we had this lady in elementary school who would come around with her cart and teach us Spanish. So I've grown up learning Spanish pretty much all my life, at least from age 5 on. And then in middle school, you could pick a language. In high school, you could pick a language. And here, our choices were always Spanish or French. That was it. Those are your only options. And having grown up in Miami and learning Spanish throughout elementary school, I chose Spanish because it made the most sense, especially here. And then I learned Spanish all through high school and in college, and I did very well, and now I've lost most of it because I don't use it. I'm sure I could pick it up easily, and my pronunciation is going to be terrible because, hello, I'm from the South, and I'm an American, or United States, whatever, how you say it in some other countries. But yeah, I mean, I know some Spanish, and I know a few words of German and French, but not enough to form a coherent sentence. I can, point at things. That's about it. But yeah, okay. So, who were your friends growing up? Again, in Florida, it was my cousins, and then that black girl whose name I don't remember, and Chester, whoever you are, and then I have pictures of my classmate, Nicole, who I was friends with. I even have her last name. But I don't remember Nicole at all. I remember this little Hispanic girl called Maria, which is totally helpful when I'm trying to find something. So, and then here it was Stacy and Tiffany and Shannon and Jennifer and who else was I friends with? I am blanking so many people. Yeah, I had more friends than that, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm brain farting names. But mostly them. I think Shannon was actually the first friend I made because we were both in the YMCA's after school program to learn how to swim. And I'm still kind of friends with her, but she's married and it's kind of hard to keep in touch with her. And Stacy, I've been friends with since 2nd grade when I moved here. Tiffany, I became friends with in maybe 6th or 7th grade, somewhere in there, because we went to different elementary schools, and yeah. So, and I'm still friends with all of them. And, okay. Who were close friends of the family? I'm not going to say his name, but do you remember the guy whose granddaughter's baptism I went to? Well, he was my grand's boss before I was born. And, we've gone on family vacations together, and beach trips together, and just hung out and whatever. We just go out and eat and hang out, whatever. The whole entire family. I grew up with his kid. I kind of grew up with his kids and another coworker's kid. When I say grow up, I mean beach trips and dinner and family fun, and some family functions, not all. We all went to different schools. Yeah. So, I'm going to say the name. Yeah, so he was family. Oh, okay, funny story. When I was, you can see what I look like. So you can kind of guess what my parents look like. My hair is lighter than this. This is a terrible, terrible camera. But basically, my mom looked kind of like my coloring. My mom was basically me, with a slightly different face shape and a whole ton more freckles and slightly lighter hair. My dad is basically the guy version of me with dark brown hair. Yeah. And yeah. But basically two white people, two very, very obviously white people, just dark as brown hair. Okay, growing up, my gran took me to the office one day, and the family friend he's Filipino. And apparently, when I was born, I had jet black hair from who knows where, and it was a little bit jaundiced, so I had a bit of a tan. And my gran brought me to the office one day when I was a few months old to show me off, and everyone there thought I was that I was her boss's, the Filipino guy's daughter. So no, everyone when I was a baby thought I was Filipino. No, I'm white. So yeah, edit that. Okay. So, describe the personalities of your family members. Oh, good God. I have so many. Here, let's do a little quick breakdown. My dad okay, so clear. My dad is still alive, but I haven't actually seen my father face to face since I was 7 years old. So this is from memory from when I was 7. From what I've seen in videos and what I know now, from having perspective of being older, and the slight communication I've had with him from when I was 19 and trying to contact my sister, and this and kind of general vibes, and that meshed with what I knew back then in retrospect and all that. My dad is the kind who's like a charmer, who can get along with anyone who's nice to you, but for his own reasons. My dad is a douche. Again, I don't have a psychology degree, so I can't give any diagnosis on this, but my dad is the type of person who will help you because it makes him look good rather than it actually helping you, if that makes any sense. For example, several years back, I wanted to get my little half siblings a birthday present, but my dad wanted to make sure that I didn't get them anything big because he wanted to be the hero. Never mind, there's someone here who wants to buy your children a nice gift. You're too concerned about looking like the hero versus making your children happy. Does this make any sense? That's the kind of person my dad was. My aunt and uncles, I really don't remember. They were just my aunts and uncles. They're like the background to my little kid universe. And my cousins were just my friends, and we hung out. I was closer to my older guy cousin. Well, one of them. I had one cousin who was like a few months older than me, and we were like brother and sister, basically. And then his little sister, who was like my shadow, she was like, she's like 2 years younger than us, and she just followed us around everywhere like a little puppy. And then here, my gran means well, but she was a little controlling growing up. Like, my outfits were picked out for me clear through high school. Like in high school, I kind of got to pick out some of my shirts and pants and what I wore, but not all. Mostly she picked out my outfits, and there's some I had to bicker and fight. I don't mean like fisticuffs. I mean like screaming matches, fight to not have to wear. I have gotten into many screaming matches over, I shit you not, shoulder pads. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. My pop was always kind of the mostly laid back, stayed in the background, Southern grandpa or Southern dad type. Like, is mostly, like, here, like, I've noticed in my family and in my friend Tiffany's, it's mostly the women who head the who like control, like not control, but like head the family, who are in charge, and the dads is kind of laid back and whatever. I mean, I'm not saying they're not hardworking, but in the house, in the home, it's the women, who pretty much run things. What else? My aunt who passed away, she was always childlike. I don't want to say childish. It was like childlike, and she had the most infectious laugh. And my aunt was the type who, I learned the hard way, thought that the F word was, wait for it, you don't have, there's no need to censor, I don't think, fart. My aunt thought the terrible, awful F word was fart. Yeah. And anyhow, there's like I have so many family members, but those are the ones that stick out. I would be here all day if I tried to go into my whole entire family. What else? Are there any physical characteristics that run in your family? I don't know. I've tried, because again, I grew up with a distant family that I've never met in person. My mom's biological parents, and I've only known my grandma and grandpa when they were like grandma and grandpa. I have never seen a photo of grandma when she was older. Huh. No, I have no idea. Let's see, what do we have? I'm trying to think of what makes us similar. I kind of have the face shape of both sides. Like, I've got my, there's like certain angles. You know how, like, if you put your face in a certain angle, your face shape kind of changes a little bit? If I lay my face okay, now I look more like my dad's side, kind of, but growing up, I looked a lot like my mom's side. My face was, like, a little more rounded, but now that I'm older, I'm kind of, like, getting the cheekbones or whatever, you know, when you're, like, in your 30s, you kind of lose your face pudge or whatever. Yeah, I look more like my dad's. I have my dad's side's chin. I don't know what that means. Growing up, I always thought, okay, my eyes. I always thought I had my mom's side's eyes. I think my mom and I both have green eyes, but like her mom, my mom's sister, and everyone else that I know of has blue eyes from somewhere. And honestly, like, I know my mom has green eyes, my dad has green or hazel eyes. Like, but I don't have any like clear resolution photos to see their eyes up close to really compare them with mine. Because again, I've seen my mom once since I was like 14, and back in the day with like Polaroid cameras don't really do macro pictures, and there's no way I'm gonna get my dad to do that. But what I do have from like the internet and whatever are close-ups of like one of my aunt's eyes and one of my half-sister's eyes, and I have the same eye, like the hazel eye pattern as my aunt, my other aunt, and my youngest half-sister. Like, we have the same hazel eye pattern. Yeah, so I guess the same eye? I don't know. Like, I don't really know. I don't know any specific traits. Now, I have made a photo, like a side-by-side comparison photo, of me as a child, like maybe age 5-ish, my mom around age 5 or 6-ish, and my mom's mom around like 5, 6-ish. And we kind of look the same, haircut and all. So, I mean, if I ever have a daughter, I expect her to look like me, at least when she's like 4, 5, 6-ish. Like, I mean, I do look like my mom's side, kind of, but yeah. I'm like a combination of my parents. Yeah. What else? Were there any serious illnesses in your family? Do any illnesses run in the family? Not, like, as far as the typical, like, diabetes, high blood pressure, I don't think anybody has diabetes. Heart problems run in my family. Heart disease. Oops, I touched that back too far. Heart disease and stroke. Like, I kind of knew several family members, ancestors passed away of heart disease and stroke, but I never really thought about it because it's so common. Then one day I did the family tree, and I did the family. I actually gave it to my doctor last time I visited her several years back. I called it the cause of death family tree. And okay, at the time I was missing a chunk, but at least on my mom's side, heart disease, stroke, heart disease, myocardial infarction, heart disease, chronic nephritis, heart disease, stroke, heart disease. If you catch the drift. Yeah, so I am probably gonna die of either heart attack or stroke. One or the other. I keep tilting my laptop. Also, we also have, okay, I've done 23andMe, so I know some genetics I do not have, but I carry the gene for hemochromatosis and cystic fibrosis, so future husband, be warned. Please don't have either of those genes. My family also has a very rare one. I don't know if I have the gene for it or the mutation or how that works, but I have a first cousin once removed with this, and I had a great aunt who had this. Now, I'm not 100% sure on if the great aunt had this specific disease, but the symptoms match with what my cousin has, and yeah, and I was told it was the same thing. Growing up, or later on, I knew what my great aunt had as floppy baby syndrome, and I was told later on that my cousin, I've never met this cousin, that she also has floppy baby syndrome. What it actually is, if I can get this right, I think this is part of the name, mitochondrial trifunctional protein deficiency. And from what I read last time, like several years ago, I think maybe 12 people in the entire United States have this. And basically, what it is there is a protein or whatever in your body that breaks apart or that uses the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, to give your cells energy. And there's like, I guess, obviously a deficiency in that protein where like you can't really you can't really use energy properly. And like my aunt, like my cousin has a feeding tube and she's in a wheelchair. She will probably never walk. My great aunt, mind you, passed away in the 1970s when she was in her 20s. She never spoke. She never walked. She wore a diaper. So like this is like I guess that was like before like feeding tubes and whatnot. That type of care was a thing, at least for them it wasn't. So yeah, again, I've tried looking. I know it's on the HAHDB and HADB, HADHB and HADHA genes, but I've never been able to find the specific SNPs to see where the mutation is to see if I carry it. So I potentially have a kid with whatever that is. Yay. What else? Were there any memorable traditions that your family observed? Okay. On my grandpa's side, apart from the typical everybody go to grandpa's house for Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter, I have no idea. I'm sure we did the Easter egg hunt, whatever, and open. I think I got to open one present on Christmas Eve. That was about it. Here, the only traditions we have were alternating holidays in my grandfather's family, and I forget. I don't remember what we did for my grandmother's family, to be honest. Yeah. And Christmas Eve at my great aunt's house. The one thing I kind of do remember that I never got to participate in is, okay, so this is what my grandfather's side did. Remember, my grandfather was one of 7 children, or 7 brothers and sisters, and then you had them and all their children and all their grandchildren and now all their great-grandchildren. So obviously that is way too many people to be buying presents for. So what they would do, I think, whenever we all gathered for like Thanksgiving, towards the end, there would be like someone would put the names in a fishbowl. Like it was typically the heads of household. Like, so if you like basically had your own place and paid bills, you got to participate in this game for your family. And what you would do is you would reach into the goldfish bowl, pull out someone's name. It would be a name and a charity, and you would donate to that charity in their name. That's what you did for their gift. And then on Christmas Eve, my aunt and uncle made, I think, this like money tree. It was kind of like it's like little white branches that had dollar bills, kind of like fan, like kind of like bow tie folded, like an accordion, and tied to the tree, and like ribbons and whatnot. It was usually white and like maybe green, blue, red ribbons, and it was usually denominations like 1, 5, maybe sometimes you get a 20, just different numbers. And what you would do at some point, everyone would draw a number, and whoever got the number got the money tree. And that was it. And we also, one aunt also gave away like little combs and $2 bills every year. And someone gave me a pair of socks I think my aunt who did the money tree gave me socks every year. But just little bitty things like that. Okay. I'm gonna go to the next question. Yay, super long video! Anyhow, yeah, I think this one may get its own little segment in my YouTube channel. Okay. Can you remember any stories that you were told as a child, fictional, folklore, or real life? In Miami, on my dad's side, they never told, there weren't any family stories to be told. Like reminiscing and being sentimental was not a trait my dad's side possessed at all. So I don't know any family stories from when my dad was a kid. Like, no, I mean, I know a few. like maybe one or two, but that's it. I don't know any. Oh wait. Okay, since it's going for that, let's go for my dad. Here's what I know about my dad as a family story. I have a photo of my dad, age 19, holding a goat. I asked him about it, and he told me that it was taken after some guy bet him that he couldn't catch it. And he caught it and the photo was taken. There's my family story for my dad. That's it. Let's see, my mom... Okay. If my mom ever comes across this, please forgive me. But the only one I can think of right now is when my mom was maybe around 16. I think somewhere in that age. She and her best friend from high school went skinny dipping in some lake. And back then, for clarity, skinny dipping was swimming, I think, in your underwear, like your bra and panties. And like some guy came out and like peeping on them, and my mom's friend like picked and apparently went out of the water and chased them with like maybe shoes or rocks or something. That's what I remember from my mom's age. That's what I remember from my mom's childhood stories. Sorry, Mom. Yeah. I'm sure there were others, but that's what I remember off the top of my head. And who told me? Someone told me about I don't know any from my mom's mom, but my mom's mom apparently was riding, had some incident with a mule she was riding, and the mule got stuck in a ditch, and she had to ride the mule in a ditch for a solid mile. I'm sure there's more to it, but that's what I remember. And I also remember from my gran. I remember hearing about like playing with her guy cousins, and like maybe something about a go-kart going downhill that they couldn't stop because it was a go-kart, and yeah. And this one time she was riding on like the like farm horse or mule or whatever, and her grandfather, my great-grandpa, told her not to blow in its ear. And she was like, well, why not? And she blew in the mule's ear, and it took off with her on it and whatever equipment it was holding, and just bolted because she blew in its ear and didn't listen, and then she got her butt whooped because she blew in the mule's ear. I do know another one about my mom. So my mom, for a time, was raised by her grandmother, who lived on a farm. Like, we're talking barn with a hayloft farm. And apparently there's like, bear in mind, I personally did not grow up on a farm. I might have been in a barn on a school field trip once or twice. So, farmer people help me out here. But apparently, in the like hayloft, is like this thing you can like, this like thingy you can hook the hay on, and you can like swing it out to like dump hay outside or something. I don't know exactly, but there's a swingy thingy hook thing in the hayloft back in the like 1960s. And like apparently my mom's uncles would like swing on that thing or something, and like one day my mom was playing on that, and like something happened. My mom was like maybe 5, 6 years old, 8, 9, like elementary school age. So something happened where my mom got her dress or something caught up in the hook and swung out the barn door and she fell out of the barn and landed on some hay, or there's like a wagon or something of hay that she landed on. So I guess I can thank my existence to some hay. I exist because hay saved my mom. I guess. I don't know. Yeah. And yeah, so there's that. I think that's enough for the family stories. What else? Okay. What events stand out in your memories from your childhood? This is not the place for this, but my dad was abusive, very, very abusive. And if something really bad just crossed your mind, yes. All I'm saying. Not the time or the place. Do not need pity. A shovel would be nice, or an axe. The only way I want pity is if you have an axe named Pity. Okay, that's halfway kidding. I would never do that. But hypothetically speaking, if I could get away with it without any repercussions or remorse, I'm sorry, I actually do have feelings and emotions. I'm not a sociopath, so I can't do that. But if I could, in some alternate universe, yeah. But no, that's not going to happen because, hey, I have morals and I don't want to be evil. There you go. Yeah, so that's what sticks out the most. Sorry, but there you go. Okay, next question. I'm gonna make this another one. Yeah. Did a historical event impact you in a personal way? Okay. Knowing that it's now... Okay, right now, again, it is March 30th, 2017 at 2:33 a.m. There you go. And right now, I am 33 years old, and I was born in 1983. So give you a time frame there, from 1983 to 2017. What do you think is going to be on most people's mind when they look back through history? Yeah, it's going to be 9/11, or the two towers. And I may get some flack for this, but that really did not impact me. I mean, later on it did as a society. It impacted me in the way that it did as a society. But I personally, no. To be perfectly honest, I had no idea what was going on at first. When it happened, it was September 11th, 2001. And I was in my first semester of college. Like, I had graduated high school that May, and I had just started college. And I was, like, living on my own for the first time. And I remember seeing it on, like, I was mostly on the internet and whatever, and I would have the TV off to the side, kind of watching it halfway. And I remember seeing it on TV, but to be honest, I had no idea what the two towers was. I mean, it was unfortunate and it was sad, but, I mean, let's be real, we had things that had been bombed and attacked before. I was thinking, like, Waco and things like that. And yes, it's a terrible event, and I would not wish that kind of thing on my worst enemy. But it did not affect me personally because I was not in the area. I did not know anybody in the area. So it affected me in this way, in the same way something affects a society as a whole, but not personally. And as for for the whole war, I can't say that word properly. I honestly did not know we were at war for, like, several months, or maybe like weeks, or probably months. I had no clue. None whatsoever. I was in college. I was focusing on my studies on the internet and, like, other things. Like, and by other things, I mean, like, internet religious forums. Yeah. I had no idea at all. It wasn't until later on when someone actually flat out said something, the war, and, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, like, what war? Like, since when were we at war? I didn't, like, what? Of course, I never said that. I just kind of listened and gathered information that way and started watching the news. So, yeah. 9/11 hit. And I was oblivious for months. There you go. Yeah. Sorry, America. Oblivious. Okay, did you live through any noteworthy natural disasters or significant storms, floods, droughts, fires, etc.? I am in North Carolina. I have lived through several hurricanes and a few tornadoes. Okay, so right after we left Florida, like maybe, what year was that? Because I'm gonna look this up. Several hurricanes. The most recent, I lost my thing. The most recent one was Hurricane Matthew. It did not hit here, but it did hit us at our beach house. We had to have the insurance people come in. We've had to have the bottom level of our home, like, gutted, and we were having people go down, like in a few weeks actually, to go fix it. And yeah, and there was a entire hotel, like a 2-part hotel, like 2-3 avenues from us, that burnt to the ground, like due to some electrical thing that happened due to Hurricane Matthew, and the emergency services could not get in to help it. I mean, luckily everyone was already out. There were no casualties, but this like giant 2-part hotel flat to the ground, just burnt to a crisp. And yeah, so moved through that. Also Hurricane Hugo got hit. Our beach house also got hit by Hurricane Hugo. Now, I was still in Miami when that happened, so I personally was not part of it. I did not help clean up because I was in a different state. Yeah, so that was kind of it. I remember Hurricane Fran. Granted, all I remember about Hurricane Fran was having to move really heavy, like wrought iron furniture out of the way, and having to go downstairs. We brought our dog into the garage at the time, and we went downstairs and kind of hunkered down there. And we did have our tornadoes too, but it's not. We haven't had a tornado in quite a while. Okay, I'm trying to look this up. See when this was. When was this? Come on. Hurricane Andrew, which one? 1992. So, my mom and I left Florida in 1991, and the next year, boom, Hurricane Andrew went through where we were. So, I missed Hurricane Andrew by a year. Yay! So, yeah. And so I didn't technically take part. I wasn't part of that, but I just narrowly missed it. And let's go back to the questions. Okay. What inventions or developments changed your life and how? Internet. Do I need to explain more? Internet at first, and then cable and broadband internet. If you're old enough to have experienced the 56K dial-up, you know what I'm talking about. It was so slow, and yeah, you had to wait for someone to get off the phone, or if someone even if you had 2 lines, and someone called the wrong number and got the phone, you were disconnected. Yeah. That, followed by laptop computers. Oh my god. It is so nice to be able to sit down and not worry about people walking by you, looking at whatever you're looking at, and leaning over your shoulder to see what you're doing. Laptops are awesome. Yeah. Imagine having a giant fish tank to look into, and then a tower like this. This was your computer tower. This had your information, and then your computer fish tank monitor, basically, was completely separate, and so many freaking wires and cords. Yeah. I love my laptop. I pretend I'm hugging, like, this is me hugging my laptop, sort of. Yeah. Anyhow, moving on. What else? Okay, what was your father's occupation and where did he work? My dad, when I was growing up, was a boat surveyor, and when I was a little kid, I thought he fixed boats. He did not fix boats. Yeah. And he worked for his father, my grandpa, who was also a marine surveyor. My dad was a marine surveyor, as was my grandpa. My mom, I'm not really sure what my mom was growing up. I know my mom worked in like fast food places and factories. And so my mom was kind of a fast food factory worker, I guess. And she had other jobs too, but that's what I guess she decided suited her. Or that, yeah. Okay, I have to also include my grandparents because they kind of pretty much raised me. My grandmother was I guess what you call a medical secretary. As a kid, I thought she was a nurse because I didn't know any different. But she was a medical secretary. But her main focus was medical insurance and billing and accounting. My pop worked, I think, in the packaging department of a cigarette company. Never smoked a day in his life, but he worked for a cigarette company. Growing up, I never knew what he did. I just knew he worked for the cigarette company, and I learned later on that he worked in the packaging department. Okay. What else? Okay. Did you work growing up? If so, where? No. If by growing up you mean like in high school, no. There was no time because I don't really live near anything, and I was supposed to focus on my studies. I had enough time concentrating in school because of my ADD and whatnot. So no, I didn't get I helped my gran at her office when I was in college, and okay, I did that growing up. I worked in a doctor's office growing up, mainly just filing things and mailing things. Filing and mailing, that was it. And I got paid in like Breyer's horses and going out to eat, so yeah. I keep losing my place. Did anyone in your... Thank you. I don't need to know the website's going to expire. Did anyone in your family ever serve in the military? Yes, both of my parents were in the Navy, and that's how they met. Technically, I exist because the Navy insisted on recruiting people. Thanks, Navy! My pop served in the... What was it? The National... My pop was in the National Guard? Not National... I think that's it. It's that thing where you serve a little bit... Or the Army. Army National Guard kind of thing. It's that thing where you serve like a little bit and something. I don't know. I had... One of my mom's uncles was in the Army. Army or Navy, I think. And he served in Vietnam. And I know he got shot in the head, and he got like a Purple Heart, and he had like plates in his head, and he passed away a few years ago. I mean, he got shot in the head and lived. I've had several, Revolutionary War and Civil War ancestors who served on their respective sides. I don't know if my biological grandparents were served in anything. I don't think so, but I don't know if they did, or if they were enlisted, or if they registered, or anything. I honestly have no idea. As far as the more recent generations that weren't in like the Civil War, yeah, okay, because that's apparently as far as you can look up right now. So maybe future generations will be able to figure that one out. Did anyone in your family ever hold a public office? My father's adoptive father was a justice of the peace and was like a delegate in the Miami Democratic Party sometime in like in the late 1940s, I think, somewhere in there, 1940s, 50s. So yeah, like whatever the head of the Democratic Party was, he was that for a while. Public office. I figured this out. My pop's niece's husband is like an attorney or something that's not in public office. And then my not really. Right now, my grand and pop's family friend, not the Filipino one, a different one, his son is currently the mayor of the town. So yeah. So not a family member, but the son, like a family friend, is the town mayor right now. What was your favorite song? That spans so many. Growing up, it was the Disney version of Daisy, Daisy, like Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer. I can't sing with the lick, so I'm not even gonna try. And yeah, that one, and a Disney version of What Would You Do with a Drunken Sailor? Yeah. I don't know where it is right now. It's probably in an old building somewhere. But growing up, I used to have this the book itself was like this kind of fuchsia pink color. Not this color. It was like a pinkish purple color. And it was like Disney had several of them, and it came with this like little Mickey Mouse, this red Mickey Mouse pen that had like this little silver circle on it. And when you mashed it down on the book and you scrolled it along, it read like different words. I don't know if it was that book, or if the book was along the same time as the book and cassette tape combo came out, but there was like a book or tape combo of like Disney versions of songs, and What Would You Do with a Drunken Sailor was one of my favorites, and I think the book had something to do with Donald Duck. Yeah, and there was also Frere Jacques. As a child, I thought the song was Frere Jacques Dormez-vous. Like, seriously, I thought the song was Frere Jacques, and I had no idea how to spell it. Yeah. growing up in, oh good lord, what did I like in high school? I liked Vitamin C, the graduation song, which actually came out very close to my graduation. I liked Aqua. That's some weird taste. Destiny's Child, Alanis Morissette, Linkin Park. These aren't specific songs, but these are like kind of give you an idea of what I liked. Right now, I don't know why, but for some reason my favorite song right now is Rag & Bone Man Human. No idea why, but that's what I'm drawn to right now. And I also like Kiara's Gold and Intuition. And I like a lot of Janet Jackson. Mostly when I'm listening to my Spotify, my free Spotify, and I want to pick an artist whose every song I like, whose every song I like, I tend to go to Janet Jackson for whatever reason. And okay, next. Okay. Did anyone in your family play a musical instrument? No. Not that I know of. My dad told me at some point that I was told that my dad's mother's grandfather was a famous musician in England. I have done the research and I found like one guy who it might be. Okay, the guy's name, if anyone out there is British and happens across this particular video, let me find him. I have found no evidence or trace whatsoever of any famous musician anywhere, England or otherwise. Okay, so let me find him. Okay, I got my family tree open. Got me, my dad, grandma, grandma's mom. Okay. Okay, so. No, it's her grandfather or is her great grandfather? Let me look it up. Is it her grandfather or great grandfather? Oh, great grandfather was a famous musician in England. Okay, so let me go to her great grandparents. Because out of that. Okay. So we have. Nope. We have. Let's go down the list. South Carolina and then Georgia. Georgia, and again Georgia. One guy might have been from England. But I don't know who or what. Everybody seems to be from like Georgia. So I don't know where that rumor came from or who he was, but I found no evidence of any famous musician in England or otherwise or otherwhere. That's not a word. But anyhow, we're gonna go with it. And I certainly, I kind of wish I played a musical instrument, but when I was in middle school when I thought about it, and I was like being a bratty, like 13-year-old. I wasn't trying to be bratty, but my grand suggested I play a musical instrument in like middle school, high school, but I was in the phase at the time where I wanted it to be my idea, and because she suggested it, it was no longer my idea, and I didn't want to do it anymore. Thanks, 13-year-old me! Awesome! So now the only thing I play is the radio and the MP4 player. I don't even know what I would play if I played anything. The only instrument we have is we have a little pump organ at my grandmother's house that my grandfather inherited, because apparently when my pop's parents passed away, they just drew to whoever drew the thing got it, and my pop drew the organ. Don't know how to play it, but yeah, I have it, so I mean I guess I could learn one day. It's like little foot pedal pump organ type thing. Where am I at? Okay, what were your family's favorite or unfavorite meals? I don't know. My legs are falling asleep. I have a VHS tape of me as like a 5 or 6 year old saying that my father's favorite meal was like spaghetti with like garlic bread and salad. At least, I mean, I thought it was at the time. And you know what? That's not half bad. I mean, my dad was an asshat, but spaghetti with breadsticks and a salad is actually a very good meal. I wouldn't call it my favorite. like, my mom made this awesome Hawaiian chicken. I don't remember what was in it other than apples and oranges, and I'm sure pineapple. I don't know how apples and oranges are Hawaiian. I've got the recipe somewhere, I think. But I love that. And later on when I moved in with my gran was of the open a can and call it dinner variety. And like now my gran is all about the crock pot. Yeah, like she makes some pretty good like pineapple teriyaki chicken now. And yeah, so yeah. Although like growing up, I had no idea that I was gluten intolerant, and I don't know if I became gluten intolerant or if I've always been gluten intolerant and it just built up over time and started affecting me. I honestly have no idea. I mean, I've had stomach problems all my life, which was probably the gluten intolerance. I just didn't know any better. I just thought stomach problems were normal for me. But my all-time favorite meal, if I could eat it, is like this sort of like shredded. I have no idea what it was like. I haven't seen her in a while. One of our old family friends made it. It was like kind of like shredded chicken and rice with like melted cheese and some kind of like sauce over it. It might have been like chicken broth or something, and like maybe some like red peppers or something. I remember like red flakes, and that might have been the sauce or something. I don't remember. But whatever it was basically chicken and cheese and some kind of sauce. It was awesome. Whatever it was. That and K&W's chicken and dumplings. I had a brain fart there. Granted, most of the time it was more dumplings than chicken, but they were so good. I miss that. K&W's chicken and dumplings with lemon meringue pie. The best. Oh, and fried okra. It's awesome. And if you're really hungry, some turnip or collard greens, turnip greens preferably, with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Awesome. And though now all I can eat are the turnips and the collards. Yay. But yeah, kind of miss that. But, oh well. I'd rather be healthy and not sick than have something taste good. Okay, so what's next? But right, and I do like me some Japanese hibachi chicken. Though that's technically just grilled chicken with the shrimp sauce or ginger sauce. Is it the ginger sauce or the shrimp sauce? I think it's the shrimp. It's a peach colored one, whichever that is. Anyhow, let me find my place again. I can't. It's a PDF. Oh, can I highlight it? Yes, I can. Are there any special family recipes you've inherited? Sort of. I have my aunt's persimmon pudding recipe somewhere. I have no idea what I've done with it. That I cannot make because I have no persimmons. Persimmons are something you have to have a tree to make. Like a tree to get, and they have to just grow. You can't go out in the store and buy them. So, I mean, there were none this year. So, no persimmon pudding this year because I didn't have any. That and when I say inherited a recipe, I mean... my family uses this one recipe we found in a cookbook. It is not our own personal recipe. There's one for banana split cake that we use like every year, usually. And pigs in a blanket. I think the pigs in a blanket thing might be ours. And I know most people know what it is, but here's what my family does. Okay, you take a thing of all beef ballpark franks, a thing of Pillsbury biscuits, like in the twisty can that pops and scares the snot out of you, those kind, and some American cheese. Yes, American cheese. Okay, yeah. So what you do is you take the hot dog and you cut it into threes, and then you take a knife, like a butter knife, you make a thin, like a shallow slice into the hot dog. Do not cut all the way through. Do not cut all the way through. Very important. And then you take the cheese, little square of cheese, and you slice it, into little thin strips and crawl like this way and that way. And you should end up with a slice of cheese that goes right into that little hot dog. And then you take peel off a layer of the my voice is going. Peel off a layer of biscuit, and you wrap the biscuit in the hot dog, and then you cook that for, I forget how long. Haven't made these in years because I can't eat them. But yeah, those go so fast in my family. So it's easy. You only need 3 ingredients and good to go. If anyone wants to use that, have that. Remember, Ballpark Franks, Pillsbury dough, Pillsbury, dang it, internet, biscuits, the flaky, they have to be flaky, and American cheese, or basically sliced cheese. You just need sliced cheese, whatever kind. Because I know some of y'all hate American cheese, and that's perfectly fine. I get it. Okay, that's where I'm at. Were certain foods eaten or avoided on certain occasions? No. There's no food restrictions in the Baptist faith, at least that I'm aware of. The only food my family avoided were onions. That's not for religious reasons, that's for digestive reasons. Yeah. For some reason, nobody in my family can eat raw onions. Peppers give us problems too. Like, I know they're not my biological grandparents, but I can't eat onions either. And, yeah, just onions. Oh, and I didn't realize, I did not realize this until, like, years later, but shellfish. I don't like seafood, so I never paid attention, but my grandmother is deathly allergic to seafood, or shellfish, so that was avoided for obvious reasons. But as far as, like, certain occasions or religion, no. My legs are falling asleep, sorry. What else have we got? New topic. Okie dokie, I think we're almost done. Okay, down here says, note, Windows limits recordings to a maximum of 3 hours. Great. I'm gonna have to, like, put this on a hard drive before I can upload it. Okay. Next question. Were you ever in the newspaper? Oh, good God, yes. I've been in the newspaper multiple times. Not for anything bad, mind you. One of my aunts writes for the local paper, and our local paper has, like, these different community things where it just tells you about the goings-on of that particular community. And I'm in the paper for, like, went to so-and-so's house for Thanksgiving dinner, went to the beach, blah, blah, whatever. Like, I'm in the newspaper for things like that. And also, little tidbit, my local paper does, like, wedding and birth announcements, and, like, first birthday announcements, and, like, in one of the, I guess, 1984 one, I think it's for my first birthday, whichever aunt put my name in the paper spelled every single one of my names wrong. First name spelled wrong, middle name spelled wrong, last name spelled wrong. I don't know how she managed, but like, I still have it somewhere. It's awesome, really. Your next question. What kind of organizations do members of your family belong to? Fraternal, charitable, scouting, etc. None that I know of. I was never a Girl Scout. I'm not part of any blah blah society, whatever. I do know one of my pop's uncles was an Eagle Scout, but I don't think that counts. And one of my half-sisters was a Girl Scout, or was a Daisy Scout, but I did not grow up with her, so I don't think that really counts. So, not really. I mean, there's several, like, ancestral heritage society things that I qualify for, but A, I cannot afford it, and B, I'm in the wrong area. I can't really afford to travel. I got invited to the Gordon heritage thing for, like, the Gordon family, like the Scottish clan, when I went to the Scottish festival in Franklin, North Carolina, because I am descended from some of, like, the Gordon people from Scotland, like a specific person, but it's too far away and I can't pay dues or whatever. But yeah. So no. How did you come to work in your profession? What special skills do you have? I basically just followed my grand right into where I'm at in the medical field. I went for graphic arts, and then later history. I wanted to work in history. I don't know what, just history something. But then money kind of ran out, and I had to get, like, whatever degree I could get the fastest. That's what I had to get and go with it. And I already had a job working with my grand's boss, doing, like, filing and whatever. And I was able to transition into, like, someone else my grandmother knew was hiring. And I kind of got on there for part-time. And then I went to college, and then they hired me back again. And then I went from there to another medical office. And I worked at, like, one other place. But mostly I've just fallen right into the medical field. Like, the medical clerical field, mind you. I do not have a medical degree. So, somehow I'm just falling right into the medical office type thing, whatever. I don't know that I have any specific skills. I know my alphabet. There you go. And I can pretty much figure out things on the computer. I can, like, get the computer to do things that I want it to do. I don't mean, like, go down into, like, the IT guy, but I can find weird I have this weird ability to find really weird workarounds to get things done. I don't know if that's a skill, but there you go. Okay, when did you move away from home? When I was 17, 18, okay, so I was born in the summer and I graduated in the spring. And I was 17 when I graduated high school, and I was 18 when I started college. The problem with that was I went to community college where they do not have dorms, and here apartments will not let you lease on your own when you're 17. So I had to co-sign with my grandmother for my apartment, the bank, whatever, because I graduated so freaking young. So, I mean, yeah, being young when you're in school is nice, but if you can, wait until you're 18 to move out, because, like, you're going to be, like, when you move out when you're 17, everything you have is going to be under your parents' names, whether you want it to be or not, because you're still a minor. But, yeah. So I moved out. I technically moved out when I was 17, but not officially until I was, like, 18. Like, I had a housewarming / birthday party for my 18th. There you go. I mean, I still had ties to my family, and I still visited them, like, several weekends. But, I mean, I was out, but I wasn't on my own. Yeah, so, anyhow. Have you ever been married, and if so, to whom? When did you marry? Honey, I have never dated, much less been married. So, nope. Okay, so when did you meet your spouse? Never. Yay! I don't know. I mean, if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. It'd be nice, I guess. I don't know. I'd like to get myself sorted out first, but I mean, I might have met the person. I have no earthly idea. I don't know. Of course, this is going to be, I mean, if I have, this is going to be hilarious for future husband, my future hubby, whatever. Husband, hubby, whatever I'm going to call him. I have no idea, obviously. Did you exchange any special gifts? Nope. Not that I'm aware of. Okay, this is going to be a very fast one. How long did you date before marrying? Never dated. Who participated in your marriage ceremony? Never been married. I don't know. Although I do know it's gonna be awkward because there are people that I want there that don't get along with other people. Because, like, my mom's side, my dad's side, no, they do not need to cross in any way, shape, or form. No. So, I mean, yeah. The only thing I know that I would like, I know if I ever do get married to have a ceremony, my friends Stacy and Tiffany will be my bridesmaids, and will probably wear blue. Feel free to laugh at this, the only theme I can think of is, I want blue and silver because of R2-D2. Yeah. Bear in mind, I do not need any Wookiees or droids at my wedding. I want it to be R2-D2 inspired because I like blue and silver. That's pretty much it. And I do like the idea of like a nighttime forest walkway with like lanterns and things. Granted, I know that won't actually be feasible because people need to see, and I don't want to catch anything on fire, and I have terrible night vision. I like the look, but minus the actual outdoors and the mosquitoes and the fire hazard, so yeah. And by lanterns, I mean like the little glass, like holders that are not freaking mason jars. And I want like ethereal, not ding 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 ding. Okay, yeah. I want ethereal, not country chic, whatever. I like to date a while before I marry. My mom, from what I understand, met. I think my mom and dad met in April, married in October, had me the following August. That went well. Now, I like to date for maybe a year or so at least. I know I'm getting on up there in age if I ever want to have kids, but I don't want to rush things, Yeah. I'd rather be married to someone nice and have a nice doggy than rush into marriage just to have a kid or whatever, I would like a kid or two someday, maybe, but it ain't the end of the world if I don't. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't, whatever. I'm not going to rush into it just to whatever. Where am I at? Did you have a reception or honeymoon? Was there music? What songs were played? If I get married at a ceremony, there will definitely be a reception with food, and I'll have a dance floor for other people. Your girl don't dance in public. I cannot dance to save my life, and no, it ain't happening. Sorry. And I'm sure we'll have the obligatory electric slide for whatever reason. I don't know why, but for some reason, I think of wedding electric slide. I will probably not do the electric slide. Maybe I will, whatever, depending on what's, yeah. Well, we'll see. Music, songs, and whatever songs are popular that we like and agree on. I don't know. Do you have a copy of your wedding invitation, or was there an announcement in the newspaper? To me, that's the same thing, kind of. To me, a wedding announcement in the newspaper is not an invitation, because, here, we do that. Our newspaper, if someone gets married, it's it's the wedding announcement. A wedding announcement in the local paper is not an invite for you to head on out there and go. You should wait for your official invitation in the mail or online, whatever your family does. But to me, if you see my invitation, if I ever get married and you see my wedding announcement in the paper and I have not sent you an invitation, your ass ain't invited. That ain't how it works. Although, to be fair, with how much things cost and how well my families get how well both sides of my family get along, I may just grab Tiffany and Stacy and have my husband grab two of his friends, and we'll go on vacation and elope somewhere and get a whole bunch of photos, and our friends can go hang out wherever, and me and future husband go wherever, somewhere else, and just elope, do a sort of partial ceremony, partial elope type of thing. It's a hell of a lot cheaper, and no family drama, yay! And then we got interview tips, so I guess that's basically it. I feel like my voice has gotten squeaky over the time of me doing this. And it is now 3:11 a.m. And I'm gonna go. Thank you for listening. If anyone thinks of any other questions that they want to ask me for this sort of interview for family history, or basically someone who lived in 2017 for whatever reason, just put it somewhere in any of the descriptions below, and I'll try to see what I can do. Because who knows when I will actually upload this freakishly long video. Yeah. And I don't know. I know no one will ever do this, but since I've done the whole entire questions, if anyone out there has come across there's some magical wonder come across this for a school project or whatever, yes, you have my permission to edit my swear words out of this if you feel the need to. That doesn't bother me in the slightest, because I know I'm weird. I cuss at random, whatever, and randomly stutter. So, yeah. Bye!